viṣvak sphurantaṁ grahaṇa-āturam harir vyālo yathākhuṁ kuliśa-akṣata-tvacam dvāry ūrum āpatya līlayā nakhair yathāhiṁ garuḍo mahā-viṣam
viṣvak,
viṣvak
all around,
sphurantam,
moving his limbs, grahaṇa-āturam, afflicted because of being captured, harir, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nṛsiṁhadeva, vyālo, a snake, just as, āpatya, a mouse, kuliśa-akṣata, not cut even by the thunderbolt thrown by Indra. Ūrum on his thigh, āpatya, placing, dadāra, pierced, līlayā, very easily, nakhair, with the nails, just as, harir, a snake, ūrum, the carrier of Lord Viṣṇu, mahā-viṣam, very venomous. As a snake captures a mouse, or garuḍo captures a very venomous snake, Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva captured who could not be pierced even by the thunderbolt King Indra. As grahaṇa-āturam moved his limbs here and there and all around, very much afflicted by being captured, Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva placed the demon on his lap, supporting him with his thighs, and in the doorway of the assembly hall, the Lord very easily tore the demon to pieces with the nails of his hand. Srimad Bhagavatam. Report by His Divine Grace, D.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Grahaṇa-āturam had received from Lord Brahma the benediction that he would not die on the land or in the sky. Therefore, to keep the promise of Lord Brahma intact, Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva placed grahaṇa-āturam's body on his lap, which was neither land nor sky. Grahaṇa-āturam had received the benediction that he would not die during the day or the night. Therefore, to keep this promise of Brahma, the Lord killed grahaṇa-āturam in the evening, which is at the end of the day and the beginning of night, which is neither day nor night. Grahaṇa-āturam had taken a benediction from Lord Brahma that he would not die from any weapon or be killed by any person, dead or alive. Therefore, just to keep the word of Lord Brahma, Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva pierced grahaṇa-āturam's body with his nails, which were not weapons and which were neither living nor dead. Indeed, nails can be called dead, but at the same time, they can be said to be alive. To keep intact all of Lord Brahma's benedictions, Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva paradoxically, but very easily, killed the great demon grahaṇa-āturam. Nāyāna-āturam Namo Vishnu Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauranga Nirvishesha Śrīvāda Namaste Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Shri Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Vanshabal Kripa Kripa Sindhudesha Patitam Bhāvi Vaishnavi. So there are many wonderful verses in this chapter, and many other topics. Besides, no position in this world is secure. We can be kicked out at any moment. But I chose to speak on this verse, and I was given this topic. So we see here, Hiranyakashipu, he took a lot of trouble to avoid being killed. He performed austerities for 100 celestial years, which is a very long time. And then when Lord Brahma said he couldn't give him the benediction of immortality because he himself wasn't immortal, he tried to get it in a roundabout way, saying that he wouldn't be killed at day, at night, by man or animal, inside or outside, etc. But we see, although he performed like 100 celestial years of austerities, in just a very few minutes, he was completely finished by as they say in the song, Para Kamala Vare, the Kama. Your lotus-like hands with their wonderfully pointed nails. Shringa means pointed, and Adbuddha means wonderful, and Nakha means nails. So, lotus nails are all those 100 celestial years of austerities, all those amazing benedictions of Lord Viṣṇu. Finished. So Prabhupada often says that for the atheistic class of men, that God comes in the form of death. Because God is the supreme power, and the atheists don't admit any supreme power, but they're all dragged off the scene by death. So death is the supreme power of the atheist. So the topic is that no position is secure, and we can be kicked out at any moment. So I thought of a few instances when I encountered this. When I was a kid, we had a neighbor who was 7 years old, and she left the body. And one of the other neighbors was saying, she went to the doctor the week before, and the doctor said she was in good health. But next, finished. My father he had a heart condition, he was in critical condition for several weeks. So we couldn't see him because we were kids, and they wouldn't let the kids see the people in critical condition. But the next week, he went up to Satisfactory. So we got to see him, and we thought things were improving. But the next week, left the body. I worked with a devotee named Adikeshwara, and he told one story from his youth. He was at a family gathering, and one of the relatives was talking like he was going to live 10 or 20 more years with great confidence. And at that very meal, he choked on some food and he left his body. And it was such a striking thing. He'd just been bragged about how long he would live and died. But the most, I think the most striking of all the experiences I had regarding that was I had 3 friends in Alashwa, and I used to do harinam with them. One was named Yathāhiṁ, and he preached at the rainbow gatherings and the Burning Man. And the other 2, we have a Krishna lunch program at the University of Florida, and we serve several hundred plates of prasad, and I would go there and do harinam. So one devotee named Tim got initiated as Gopinath. He had a majored in piano at the university. He was a wonderful musician. He inspired people in kirtan. And then there was another guy who played the mridanga. They were all driving in a car back to the Gainesville, and one of them was talking on the phone with his wife, and then they made this turn, and they didn't see there was a truck coming. So this truck hit their car, and all 3 of them died instantly. And it was such a shock to have if you have one of your friends die who's fairly young, like in their 20s or 30s or 40s, it's shocking, but to have three of them all at once. And they had memorial services 3 days in a row at the same funeral home with the same priest. And I missed the last one because I was coming to mind for it. But it was such a shocking thing to actually experience. Yeah, it's exactly what it says. No position is secure. Any moment you can leave. There's one Swami who preaches in America named Katha, and he would say that just like the food in the shop, it has an expiration date. So we all have an expiration date, but we can't see it. Krishna can see it, but we don't know our expiration date. So when the devotees that do harinam would hear, he was talking with Radha Shekhar a week or so ago, and they had this nice conversation, and he was feeling good feelings about interacting with his Vaishnava, and then 2 days later he found out he left his body. So this is a problem that we never know when we leave our body. There's one devotee who was I was at his initiation last September. He got initiated by the religious group who actually moved here since last September. But he met the devotees back in I think it was the 80s when it was that hardcore scene. It was Krishna Core and Shelter and 108. And he would go to the Sunday feast and hang out with those guys, but he never really took the practice seriously. For like decades, for 3 decades, he was hanging out with the devotees. And then he had a business, and this guy he was working with, they were driving a truck, and they got in an accident, and the truck flipped over, and the person who was working was pinned under the truck. So he saw this person who was a friend of his, who was his business partner, like leave his body in front of his eyes. And then after that, he started chanting Sisi Ram and following the rules, and within a year or two, we got initiated by the religious group. So sometimes Krishna makes arrangements for people to take Krishna consciousness more seriously. So in light of the fact that we can leave our body at any time, the best thing to do is to prepare ourselves to leave our body at any time, because that's the reality. In the next chapter, the Lord Maharaj he's being offered all kinds of benedictions by Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, and he says, I have complete experience concerning the worldly opulence, mystic power, longevity, and other material pleasures enjoyed by all living beings from Brahma down to the end. As powerful time, you destroy them all. Therefore, because of my experience, I do not wish to possess them. So, the Lord was completely detached from all kinds of material opulence because he realized that they could be over in the moment. There's a nice quote in a song by Bhagavatam, Arunodaya Kirtan, this Kirtan at the sunrise. He says, drink the nectar of the pure nectar of the holy name of Krishna. There is nothing but the name to be had in the 14 worlds. It has filled the soul of Sri Bhaktivinoda. So everything actually that we're encountering in this material world is all temporary, but we are eternal souls. So everything is incompatible with us. So Prabhupada would use an analogy of a fish out of water. The fish is perfectly happy in the water, but if you take the fish out of the water, there's no situation that will make the fish happy. So we're actually spiritual beings that we're meant to be in the spiritual world. But we're in this world where everything we contact with has a beginning and an end, and therefore we're separated from it in the course of time. But the holy name of Krishna is eternal, and we as souls are eternal. And when we establish our eternal relationship with the holy name of Krishna, we can be situated on the eternal path. And if we're absorbed in chanting the name of Krishna at the end of our life, then we go be devoted to Krishna. There's another nice Bhagavatam verse that stresses the solution to this problem of death happening at any time. Both by the rising and the setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing the topics of the all-good personality of God. So, if we die untimely, if we have material desires, then we'll take another material body. But if we absorb ourselves in Krishna Kirtan, with the purifying power of Kirtan, which purifies our material desires, we'll end up going back to Krishna. One time, my Guru Satyavadasa Goswami, he asked Srila Prabhupada how he could become more serious about spiritual life. And Prabhupada told him to always keep death in mind. Like if we chant our rounds thinking, this could be the last day of my life, let me chant my rounds really nicely today. If we thought that every day, then we'd have really good rounds. Lord Viṣṇu mentions how the advanced and transcendentalist should view death and deal with the problem of death. He says one should not view death with horror, nor have recourse to defining the body as soul, nor give away to exaggeration and enjoying the bodily necessities of life. Realizing the true nature of a living entity, one should move about in the world free from attachment and steadfast in purpose. So the people in the environment around us may try to make our life unnecessarily complicated by engaging us in different unnecessary activities, but we just keep our focus on developing our devotion to Krishna. There's an interesting class where Prabhupada is talking about the importance of being very serious. He says, if you do not become serious, then it will take many, many years. But we should be more serious than Maharaj Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit had at least a time limit, 7 days, but we do not know if we will live for 7 minutes. Any moment your heart can fail. That's what Raja Shekhar. You do not know. You are going to the street, just like the 2 boys were coming. They did not know they were going to be killed. So our life is so jeopardized. Any moment I can die. That is a fact. Maharaj Parikshit had the opportunity of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days. I don't know if I had the opportunity for doing it for 7 minutes. Therefore, let me read it very seriously. That should be our attitude. Not that, oh, Parikshit Maharaj was given 7 days notice. I have no such notice. I may live 7 millions of years. That is our disease. Often, Srila Prabhupada would talk about death as being the final exam. Many of us probably, at least in our youth, we studied and we took some tests, we had some exams. I took a few courses recently. I found out I could take courses for free if I'm over 60 years old in universities in Florida. So I took French, because I preached in Paris, and I took sociology and religion, which is very interesting. It's told the best time to convert people to a religion is when they're at a juncture in their life between 2 different points, and they can make alterations. So, at any rate, because I did the work, I went to the classes, I did the quizzes. When the final exam came, it wasn't a problem. So if we do our sadhana, if we practice our sadhana very strictly, then when death comes, we'll be accustomed to always thinking of Krishna. Because every morning when we see the deity, every evening we see the deity, we chant, we do the Bhagavatam, and there's a verse that talks about death being the highest, the final exam, in the second canto, 1:6. The highest perfection of life, achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, is to remember the personality of Godhead at the time of death. There's a whole chapter of Bhagavad called Attaining the Supreme, chapter 8, which talks about attaining Krishna at the time of death. It's very interesting that Arjuna starts out that chapter by asking Krishna 8 questions. He says, what is Brahman? What is the self? What is karma, fruitive activities? What is the spiritual manifestation? What are the demigods? Who is the Lord of all sacrifice? How is he situated in the body? And how can those engaged in devotional service remember you at the time of death? So the amazing thing is, he asked those questions in 2 verses. And in the next 2 verses, Krishna answers 7 of the questions. The other question, how do we remember you at the time of death? He spends the whole rest of the chapter, 24 verses. And the 2 of the main verses are ante kale samame va smarvam dadāra. But whoever remembers me at the time of death, he will attain me without fear. And then the next one says, talks about whatever state of being you remember at the time of death, you attain that state. So the idea is to remember Krishna at the time of death. And then the next verse, tasmat savesha kalesha mamanus marayudyasha he tells Arjuna, so you should perform your prescribed duty, you should offer the results to me, you should think of me, you should engage your intelligence in me, and if you did this, then surely you will come. So sometimes people say that in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna just tells Arjuna to do his duty. But that's not all. He says, do your duty and remember me. So, and an interesting thing is, in that, if you look at that chapter, wherever Krishna says in the verse to remember him, in the purport, Prabhupada says, chant Hare Krishna. And he puts the entire Hare Krishna mantra. And in that verse, ante kale tamame var smarvam dadāra, he puts the entire Hare Krishna mantra twice. I was given class in Holland one time and I spoke on that one verse. And when they read the Dutch translation, it only had the mantra in it once. Because the translator decided it was too much trouble to put it in twice. But Prabhupada put it in twice. It was funny. So this Hare Krishna mantra can't be too much emphasized. When you think about it, there's so many bona fide Vaishnava instructions that he could have ordered his disciples to follow at the time of initiation. But the one positive thing he said to do was to chant 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna mantra. And in one purport in the CC said that's the most essential, the most important of all the instructions that they do. Another place he was asked by devotees, what should we pray to for Krishna? What pray to Krishna for? And Prabhupada said, you should pray to Krishna for all who remember to chant Hare Krishna. So that's the great importance of the chanting Hare Krishna. And if we chant Hare Krishna with attention, without offenses, then we can become purified from material contamination. And that purport to 787, when he talks about doing the duty and remembering Krishna, he says, you don't have to give up your occupation, just perform your occupational duty, and at the same time remember Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and your consciousness will become purified, and it will attain Krishna at the end of life. So,